Dave Coulier is in the studio with me. He's a stand-up comic, which is why he's in town. He is a voice actor, which is a passion of mine, so I'm going to talk to you about that. And, of course, most people know you as Joey, right? Joey on Full House.
Yes. That's the big one.
Yeah, that was on my house every Friday night. My mom was actually addicted to that show.
Yeah, well, you know, we crossed a lot of generations with Full House, and the show has never been off the air since 1987, so it just kind of keeps breeding new fans. It's crazy. Bob
Saget, your partner from that show.
Who I affectionately call my filthy Jewish sister.
Right. Yes. So he's kind of taken the, I think he was out there with, I always saw him on talk shows, late night talk shows, and I knew he was twisted, more twisted than he was able to be on Full House.
Yes.
But more people have discovered that since the show's gone off the air. He's kind of embraced that, and he's kind of the blue humor guy. You've taken your comedy a different direction. You're more family-friendly, or at least cleaner. Is that correct?
Well, I've always been that way. It's never been really a conscious decision. It's just that's just the way I work. You know, a la Brian Regan and Jim Gaffigan. You know, it just happens to be clean humor that anybody can come and listen to. You know, and I'm not a prude. You know, I love the Lenny Bruces and Richard Pryors and Chris Rocks and, you know, Sam Kinnisons of the world. You know, George Carlin. I love what they're talking about on stage. But, you know, there seems to be a point when they're using that visceral language. And now it just kind of seems everybody's swearing. And it's just kind of, you know, people really think it's different when you're not swearing now, which to me is
right. You walk
funny.
away at the end of the night and you're like, that was really funny. Wait a minute. He didn't even cuss once.
Yeah. And so that's just my brand of humor, and you know, I appreciate all different styles of comedy, you know, and I'm a hockey player, so I'm always in a locker room with guys telling stories, and you know, those stories have a time and a place, and so just as a comedian, though, my humor, when I think of writing jokes for the stage, it just happens to be stuff that's just generically clean and funny.
So it's not difficult for you to come up with material without emphasizing it with...
Yeah, there's just no F-bomb aftertaste, you know? It's just...
nasty F-bomb aftertaste.
You know, it's just the way that I write.
Which came first for you? Stand-up comedy, acting, voice acting, impressions?
Stand-up came first.
Really?
And then, you know, stand-up was always kind of my bastard stepchild, and so you know, stand-up was always a way to showcase myself for other things, for a sitcom or for voices or whatever. But, you know, so I put it on a shelf for a long time and didn't pay much attention to it, and actually took several years off from doing stand-up after, you know, Full House and America's Funniest People and all these different shows I was doing went off the air. And so I didn't really know if I was going to do stand-up again. And then I got very interested in it. And so now I'm out writing a whole new hour, and it's a challenge and it's fun, and I'm having more of a blast with it now than ever.
You do voices, so do you incorporate that into your stand-up?
Sure, yeah. My show is very eclectic. I bring my harmonica and I play a little music.
I was going to try and... Did you bring your harmonica?
I didn't, no.
I was going to bring one. I haven't touched up my harmonica in like 20 years. I could not find the darn thing.
Yeah, so I play my harmonica, and you know, my job up there is to be kind of a glorified clown, you know?
Right.
I mean, there's so many smart comedians that, you know, have really great political insight and, you know, punditry, and so I admire those guys for that, but I know my job is just to kind of clown around for an hour and 10 minutes, and that's what I do. I go up and I have a blast, and hopefully the audience wants to come along on that ride.
What was the how old were you when you did your first impression, and who was the impression of? Do you remember?
Well, I do. My brother and I, we used to call it narrating the neighborhood, and we used to sit on our front porch, and we would just narrate what we thought everybody was saying as they were walking around in front of their houses and up and down the street. And so the first one I ever did was Mr. Gat.
And Mr. Gat kind of talked like this. I'll tell you, I'm just a crazy buffalo. I ain't going to do nothing.
And so I would do Mr. Gat, and then my brother would do Mr. Hooper, and we would just kind of narrate all these people, and then we had bunk beds, and my brother and I used to lay in our bunk beds at night, and we would just do those voices back and forth to crack each other up. So,
was anybody ever onto you? Did you ever get busted by somebody? And
my dad hated it because we would laugh till 1 in the morning. We would just be laughing and pounding our beds, and my dad would run in with his belt and go, "Both of you, just knock it off with the goofing around. It's enough already. It's time to go to bed." You know, so we would get in trouble, but it was innocent trouble.
Yeah. So no one, like Mr. Gat never heard your Mr. Gat.
Oh, no, Mr. Gat had 5 kids, and they all knew that I did Mr. Gat because they would come and go, hey, do my dad.
Right.
Get out of here. Go do your homework or something, eh?
They were probably imitating you, imitating him at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you do a bunch of celebrity voices. In fact, okay, so this is a little strange, right? The real Ghostbusters, you do a Bill Murray impression that you did on Full House.
Right.
Did you adopt that for the real Ghostbusters animated series, or was that...
Yeah, they needed somebody to do a Bill Murray copycat for the Peter Venkman character. So, I had that going for me, which is nice. So I just basically went in and did kind of a Bill Murray ripoff. But I've been kind of a copycat for a lot of things, like Richard Pryor. I copycatted his voice in a movie, Critical Condition, which
is very strange because, like, we had to take out all of the dirty words. And so you would actually hear Richard Pryor say something like, "Oh, shucks, mother, father."
Right.
In his movies, because you had to dub over all the dirty words. So they
right,
could
so this would be
release the
dubbing.
movie.
Was this for like a TV version of the
This
film?
for the
or?
TV version when they would release the TV, the movie to television. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
had to take all those words out, and I copycatted Robin Williams in the Mork and Mindy cartoon, and
That was really funny, but they paid me a lot less money.
Whoa. So
You looked like Robin Williams when you did that.
sometimes, yes, I know. Sometimes you have to do the face as well.
Isn't that amazing? It's like a chameleon. Like you can't see it on the radio, but his face just changed. It was Robin's eyes and his.
Yes.
Oh my God!
So so I've been a copycat for a lot of different voices. The 2 old men in the balcony on the Muppet Show. I did them on Muppet Babies and
Statler and Waldorf.
Waldorf and
Yeah.
Statler. Yeah.
I'd love to hear it if you don't mind.
Yeah. You know what the best part about this show is?
No, what's that?
It ends.
That is spot on.
Yeah.
Have you
So-
done? So, Statler and Waldorf are back. Do you know who's doing the voices now, or are you involved in that
I
at all?
wasn't involved in the Muppet movie, no. But whoever did it did a great job.
Yeah, yeah.
And the great thing about the Muppet Babies was when we first started, Jim Henson would give us notes, and Jim's natural speaking voice was Kermit the Frog. I mean, he sounded like Kermit the Frog. So you'd sit there and he'd go, I really don't think Fozzie would do that here. I think maybe why don't we do like some efforting sounds and then have Fozzie fall off the ladder? and I would just sit there and think, wow, Kermit is a long-haired guy with a beard.
Yeah, did you ever?
This is cool.
I mean, obviously you respect him. He's a sweet guy. He's a genius. But were you kind of like, was it hard to keep a straight face? Maybe the first time you heard that.
No, he was such a sweetheart and just like you said, just a genius. And so I just idolized him and was hanging on every word. I didn't care that he sounded like Kermit the Frog.
Right. You worked on the Jetsons. You worked on Scooby Doo.
Yeah, Scooby was the first show I ever worked on.
How
And
old were you?
I think I was 20 years old,
Nice.
and I had just sent a demo tape to Hanna-Barbera on a Friday. On Monday, they called and they said, "We'd like you to be on Scooby this afternoon. Can you work?" And I was like, "Absolutely." So I went, and it was Don Messick, Casey Kasem, and Frank Welker were all
That's
there.
amazing.
And I just guessed it as this. In fact, I just got a 63-cent royalty check from the episode. It was called Muscle Trouble, and I just played this guy Muscles who basically kicks sand all over Scooby and Shaggy and chases them around on the beach. And
Yeah.
Oh, so you want to get rough, eh?
one of those typical Scooby-Doo
Yeah.
villain guys.
Did you
Yeah.
get to bust out the meddling kid line ever? Or?
Yeah, no. But it was a treat to work with those guys. And then on the Jetsons, I got to work with Mel Blanc, who is
Man of a
the
thousand
king.
voices.
Yeah, the king. And so he did Mr. Spacely, and I did some characters, and it was just.
Did he mentor you at all? Did he give you
no,
any tips?
he, Mel at that point was older, and so he kind of just was really quiet. But then you'd hear this voice come out, and it was like, where is this coming from? And,
Right.
And he was amazing. He was Bugs Bunny.
And Frank Welker, this is a side note, and maybe you don't have an answer for this, but I'm watching new episodes of Scooby Doo. They're actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
How does Frank Welker sound in 2012 exactly like he sounded in 1969?
Well, he's the most amazing voiceover person I've ever met, and we worked together on Muppet Babies, and we worked together on Real Ghostbusters and shows since, and he does things that I've never seen anyone do. He does like 12 ducks singing at the same time, and it's the freakiest thing you've ever seen, because he keeps adding ducks into this song that he sings. So all of a sudden it's one duck, and then there's 2 and 3, and he keeps adding another duck.
Nice.
And it's just like, where is that coming from?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That is crazy. You do a couple of other impressions I'd love to hear, if I may. I feel I feel bad. It's like,
I'm like a
dance!
comedy jukebox right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Bob Hope?
You know, Dave Thomas is a good friend of mine, and Dave was on SCTV, and he does Bob Hope so well. So I would hang out with Dave and just basically rip off.
Yeah, isn't that marvelous?
Yeah, I like you. I'm going to put you on my special.
But, you know, I would just sit there and kind of copycat Dave, and then Dave and I ended up doing the McKenzie Brothers cartoon.
I heard about that. I didn't see it.
Bob and Doug McKenzie. It aired in Canada. I think we did 16 episodes a couple years ago.
So actually,
And
Dave
so
Thomas
Did
did it with you, but
yeah,
Rick Moranis
but
did not.
Rick did not do it, so I did the Bob character.
Okay.
So basically, I got to just like talk like this all the time and talk about beer, eh?
That's awesome.
So,
yeah, my
yeah,
friends
it was
and
a
I
blast.
used to do Bob and Doug all the
yeah,
time.
Yeah, so much fun, and just sitting there in a room, you know, with Dave Thomas with microphones, it got pretty silly.
Tom Hanks does not seem like an obvious impression. I mean, I can hear Tom's voice, but how do you go about doing a Tom Hanks impression?
Well, I always did this, Tom Hanks. You are a crazy nut. Get out of here.
You know, it's that guy.
It's the bachelor party.
It's pretty much the
bosom
Bachelor
buddies.
Party. Yeah,
Tom Hanks. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's that guy.
How about Bill?
It's not Jenny Life is a box of chocolates. It's not that Tom Hanks.
How about Bill Cosby?
Well, Cosby, I grew up, you know, I did Cosby on Full House, and it was just because the writers wrote it in, and I was like, I don't even know if I can do Bill Cosby. But, you know, I kind of did a cheap Cosby
Yeah.
ripoff on Full House.
So you're up to the challenge.
Yeah, I was. It was kind of like whatever, you know, if they were like Tasmanian Devil in a scene, I would walk in and go, you know, so...
Have you? Did you take any training for any of this stuff along the way, or are you just like God-given natural talent?
I don't know where it comes from.
May not be God. You're saying.
Yeah. Some would say the devil. Yes, it was like 5th grade, and my teacher hated my guts.
Yeah.
You know, I just always loved doing voices. It started with my brother, and then I was a jock growing up. I played a lot of hockey, and when you got 20 guys in a locker room sitting there with a built-in audience like that, I would just do impressions of other guys on my team or my coach, and everybody would laugh. And I just always loved doing that. And so it was just kind of a natural progression of doing voices. So by the time I got to high school, I could do about 6 different high school teacher voices, including my principal. So the principal got wind of it and actually asked me to do an impression of him over the PA in the morning.
Oh, that's
so
fantastic.
I used to do the announcements as our principal in the morning before school. So everybody knew it, and the guys I went to an all-boys Catholic high school, and everybody just loved it.
That has to be the opposite of everybody else's class clown story.
Yeah, it really was. Well, his name was Conrad Vachon, and he was really supportive of me. And I remember senior year, I opted not to go to college, and I was in a college prep high school, and so everybody was going to college.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, I'm going to go to either Chicago, New York, or L.A. to be a stand-up comic. And I remember he just looked at, and he had a very nasally voice, and he said, "Good luck with that. Call me when you're successful." And that's what he said.
That's all right.
And then I was doing, I had already done Full House. We were in the middle of producing Full House, and I remember they flew him out for a show. I forget, I was on a talk show, and they flew him out, and I was telling this story, and all of a sudden he just walked out.
How great is that?
And it was pretty cool, and we got to spend some time together. But he was one of those guys that just really kind of saw that I wasn't just this pesky kid who was causing trouble. I was trying to do something funny, and he nurtured that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, it seems to have worked out for you.
Yeah, it was okay.
So,
it's
Tacoma
all right.
Comedy Club, 2 shows tonight and
Yep.
2 shows tomorrow night.
Yeah, 2 tonight, 2 tomorrow. Working on lots of new stuff. So it's my little experiment in progress, which is it's all part of the fun. So. Come on out. It's not an episode of Full House. It's not like the Olsen twins are going to magically appear during my set, but
Which wouldn't be a bad thing.
It wouldn't be a bad thing. It wouldn't be a bad thing, but I can't afford them.
Right.
I can't afford those 2 anymore. But it's a blast. I had a show there last night, and it was a blast. Just a ton of fun, great audience, and so it's gonna be fun.
Awesome. Dave Coulier, thank you so much.
Thank you.